This conference will now be
somewhere.
recorded.
Yeah, we're on Central Time here all the time. At least most of Texas and I am. Chris and the other Chris are
We're east.
Eastern, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're all east.
Cool. So, how is everyone? So today on the agenda, after the welcome and intros and that kind of thing, is um, questions and comments after that, and then the plan topic, which is today going to talk about the best pathway to support and kind of how that works on the back end and that kind of stuff, and whatever else we decide to come up with. So, if anybody wants to say hi or introduce themselves or have anything right out of the gate, feel free to go for it. If not, maybe this will be a 30-minute session today. No,
Yeah,
um,
where is Tom's not here? Wow.
yeah, it's a uh,
Find out where the hell he's at.
little less of a crew today, but that's okay. So, but yeah, if anybody's got anything, be sure and pop in. There's Tommy and Lois; they popped in. So, um, anybody got anything going on that's noteworthy?
Yeah, just as I send my message to that.
If not,
Not
that's your turkey
really.
call notification sound, isn't it? Isn't that you?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, I remember that. So,
I was trying to think if there's anything
um,
odd going on or not. But
anything that sticks out? So, if
no.
not, I guess we could just jump into that a little early. The topic that'll save me.
I was trying to think of
Um,
anything. Is there anything new and exciting going on in the laser world?
so we're still having more and more machines, that are actually in our uh, on U.S. soil in our sites, so that we're able to get these machines out in 2 weeks instead of four. I'm still amazed at that because that's never ever ever happened before. That's so new that I'm just, it's kind of impressive.
Yeah,
It's
I've
to the
noticed that.
point where we're redoing the cheat sheet. I'm going to do a cheat sheet 2.0. We're going to have one for the Nova series and kind of revamp the original one. And we kind of talked about that last week. And then I'm going to take that one and make one specifically for Aurora and make one specifically for Odin, since there are a few differences there. Eventually we're going to do that. Um, but the other thing is people used to have 4 months, if they would at all, to look through
I
all
did.
this documentation and be ready and have their electrical done. But the way it is now, so many of these machines are getting to people within 2 weeks. They almost don't have time, to go through all that stuff and actually be ready. So that's something that we haven't really experienced as far as had any feedback on yet, but I suspect that that's going to continue. So we're going to
It's
try to look at ways to streamline and condense or boil down some of that cheat sheet stuff, so that there's a down and dirty
yeah,
version maybe. you
one
know
of the things that they're going to have in place beyond the scope of tech is even the sales side is these are the must-haves. When
yeah.
you get this, you're going to get it in 2 weeks. You must have a 20 amp dedicated outlet. You must have this door
a,
opening size for the machine you're ordering. Um,
a
those type
vent.
of things.
Got to have a ready to exhaust or
Yeah,
whatever your exhaust is.
I mean
Yeah.
it should just be literally it should just be a sheet that says must-haves, and then little dots or PowerPoint or what do you know what I'm talking about? The
Yeah.
little dots on the side, and literally
Yeah.
just have a list of those and make it as simple as possible. No big long
Yeah.
sentences, just must-haves.
Yeah. Well, that's how the cheat sheet started, and then we discovered that it needed a little bit more.
Well, I mean, it's still
But
good
yeah.
with a cheat sheet, but I mean, just right off the sales point of the second that they
Yeah.
sign the dotted line, there's a
Before your
must-have.
machine shows up, you should have boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Yeah, and that
And
would save
and
a lot of people Facebooking and
yeah,
going,
and
"What
they're real good about the emails, evolving those. I call them automated. They're not. They send them out personally, but they have some canned stuff in there about preparing for the machine, that kind of thing. So they're good on that side about adapting that and evolving that to our needs. So that should be no problem having that happen, as far as the post sale communications that go on. So that'll be an easy one to do. But yeah, definitely that.
Oh, speaking of
Um,
sales stuff,
mhm.
sorry, just because it
Yeah,
popped
go
in my
ahead.
head. Because I've got the 2-inch and the 4-inch lens, and I'm trying to figure out if I got the right lens or not when I ordered it. Because I'm trying to figure out because it's not marked. Is how do you tell the difference between the 2-inch and the 4-inch lens inside the block and inside the plastic?
You can't.
Because
Once
there's
you
no
take it out
marking
of,
on it. No,
no,
it's
there's
in.
no marking.
It's still in the little plastic container,
Uh-huh.
but it's not marked a 2 or 4-inch lens. So how can you tell if they're a 2-inch or 4-inch replacement lens?
If you got them from us, they should be marked on the outside.
Uh-uh. Yours did. The last two you sent me. That's what made me catch it the other day. Is you
Hmm.
had marked the other two that were marked as 4, and I don't know what the other ones that I had actually are. There's got to
Oh.
be an item number or something on those
Well,
somewhere.
I think you could probably I'm sure you could probably take a flashlight and maybe move it up. You can tell the difference between a 2-inch and a 4-inch, possibly, by running an artificial light source through it and holding it a certain distance, basically focusing it on the paper,
See where the
or on
focal
the desk,
at.
and measure and kind of see. And that, I think you could probably tell the difference between a 2-inch and a 4-inch doing it that way. I don't know if you could tell the difference between an inch and a half and a 2-inch, or a 1 inch and an inch and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, I haven't ever tried that, actually. I've got some lenses here. Maybe I'll mess with that and see if there's a way. But optically, there's a way you could probably test for it and actually find it just by doing, a focus on your own with visible light, possibly. So that would be my only suggestion.
And our
Uh,
tubes
you know,
are our tubes 21 millimeter or 20 millimeter.
21 millimeter outside diameter.
So okay, so it's outside on our tubes. Because I was going to get an inch and a half lens. So if I get one of those, it needs to be a 21.
Yeah. If you get a 20, it'll slide out.
Okay, so that's what I was looking at, the 21s, and I thought that's what it was, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So, anybody else got anything else they want to
I,
chat
I
about?
I got you 3 minutes.
You got me 3 more minutes. I'm stressing now because this whole workflow thing about the tech support thing won't be that long. I mean, it could be, but I don't want to make it that long. But talking about that, a couple of things that we've noticed. First of all, is all of this stuff has been made for the end user to kind of look at and go at your own pace, even the diagnostic materials. Test this, check this. So the way the support usually works is we send you a link and some other information if we need to, and resources, and ask a question or want you to perform that, and then you just report back. So the ticket system is the number one way. And we've had quite a few people that will call and see, if you were to email the support ticket system right now, let me pull it up just to make sure in case somebody tries, so I won't be lying. If you were to email support right now at Thunder Laser USA, here's something. Let me get that out of the way. Let me back up a minute. There's two support ticket systems. There's in emails. There's a support at thunderlaser.com, which is in all the manuals, which we need to change because they're in the US manual also. So that causes some confusion, but that's going to go to China, and only they're going to see it in their ticket system, and they're asleep. A lot of times when you send that. So you got a 6-hour response time on an email to China anyway, right out of the gate usually. Now that if you email us, it's 1 to 3 minutes, and we've responded typically, during banker's hours, during normal operating hours, and sometimes at 2 in the morning if I'm walking the dog or whatnot. But if you send it to support at thunderlaserusa.com, that goes to the American stuff, to the US site. And China can also see those. They can get into our ticket system and look. So if I'm asleep and Gavin happens to be in the ticket system and somebody sends an email at 2 a.m., you might be liable to get an answer from them, even if it's not me, even if I'm not, having insomnia that night or whatever. But the email is the best and fastest and most effective way, always. If you call, since we're usually on these planned trainings and pre-scheduled things, it may be 6, 8, 10, 12 hours before you get a call back, if at all. Because a lot of times, if you call in to our tech support line and no one answers it, it makes a ticket.
There, you mean
So,
to send
which is what
you mean to send an email for a ticket really fast and see how long it takes?
you can if you want to, but and it's not that we don't want to talk on the phone. Some people get really we have a few people that get really mad at me because I want to talk to someone. I want to talk to someone right now. Boss was real big about that. All of their stuff was on the phone, and I don't understand how they can do that, not without having another conduit to be able to send information. Or any of those other companies, they seem to be primarily phone. And I've tried to do troubleshooting by the phone. It takes 5 times as long because what you end up doing is sending somebody a link in the ticket anyway. They open it up, they read it, look at it, do it, and I'm sitting there on the phone twiddling my thumbs while they do it all. And it's terribly ineffective. There are times when we do need to talk. I know that it can't be all remote like that, and that's usually combined with a remote session. That way we can pull up on your screen the documentation that we're referring to, and we can point and share those resources and be on the same page. So that's really the gist of what I was going to go over, is that although we will talk to you on the phone, if you ever have a problem, an email is the fastest way. Let me see. I said something pop up here. Jim, there it is. Came in. How fast? You should have already gotten an automated reply that's asking for your serial number, and I'm not going to answer you until you reply back with it. So, no, I'm just kidding.
Brian,
I-
I
yeah,
can
go
tell you from the other manufacturer, yes, the phone conversations are great, with the exception of when you're trying to do an alignment, working through it, and you have to take a photo and email it.
Mhm.
And then they look at it and go, okay, do this. Take a photo, email it. Okay, do this. 2.5 hours on the phone to fix
Right.
some of the problems. We've only ever done a trouble ticket twice with them.
Mhm.
And both times, well, one was a bad tube. So he walked us through the determination if it was a tube or if it was the power supply, and then realignment of mirrors because something got off and the
Yeah.
lenses. Yeah, I have no issues with the way y'all do it. And I've done them both
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah, and I do realize we do need to talk, and we do have the phone. It just that's what I wanted to stress most, is the most effective way is always the email, and then if we need to talk, then we always can. And what's so good about Thunder is they've designed this system this way from the very beginning to be this way. Because even when they were doing support before the U.S. was part of the thing, there is a time barrier, a time zone difference between when China was providing the support to the U.S. plus the language barrier. So the phone was super ineffective, especially with Thunder China directly providing the support. So they, from the very beginning, modeled this thing to be via email so that those resources can be available. And that's how we've made our entire documentation system, is built behind that premise. But we will talk to you on the phone. You just may wait a while. You'll get a lot better response from email, and then if we need to talk to you, of course we will. But we'll set that up. So that was really all I had on that. I just kind of wanted to set some expectations, because even though I have a document on that, we know we don't read those. So
I was just most impressed that you get out and walk the dog at 2 a.m.
yeah.
That's just
So,
insanity.
well, I'll tell you, my normal routine is I'll get up about 6:30. I'm Central Time, 6:30 or 7. I'll go check the messages real quick and make my coffee, let the dogs out, and then I'll come sit down and really jump in and hit the tickets first thing in the morning. Make sure there's no fires to put out, and then do my regular stuff. And then by the end of the day, 5ish or so, I'll quit for a little bit and go fix dinner or do whatever I need to do. And then by 7 o'clock, usually I come back out here and check it again. So people, I guess, do get spoiled. And Chris is the same. Chris's, there's sensors too now. They're both kind of the same way. It's almost like, well, there's a competition internally to see who can answer the tickets the fastest. Kind of like a fun thing. Just because that's the way it is. And that's how I actually got into doing all this, is because, do y'all remember that website Fixit, Fixit.com? you could go on there and get information. I got it on there for copiers because I used to work on copiers, and that's something that a lot of people don't have a common thread on unless it's, you know, copier specific. But you can find out information about your bicycle or your car or just about anything. You know, how do I fix this or that or the other, car stereo, whatever. And they had a lot of copier questions on there, and I would go in there and see how many I could answer. And a lot of times it's just looking up, just Googling it and just providing a link. And I started doing that, and I started getting faster, and it's gamified, you know. So I'd get these stars, and you know, up and rising, you know, influencer and all that on that site, and I got to see how fast I could do it. And then when I started talking with Oz at the very beginning, Jason Dory, and also Ray, which you probably don't hear about him too much. He makes the Cohesion 3D controllers, those controllers for G-code machines for the K40s that make them work light burn. His tech support, a lot of the stuff that I learned I got from him, as far as not talking on the phone and doing some other things, you know, some of the pitfalls that he had run into in the laser specific area. And we'd have contests, you know, who would get there the first, you know, the fastest, the first one out with an answer. But the problem with me doing that is my brain works faster than my fingers do, so I end up with misspelled words. So I'm out there popping it out as fast as I can. Then I got to go back and spell check it and correct it after the fact. But anyway, that's kind of how that all started out. Let's see what Chris said. But yeah, I'll pull up the ticket that you. Let's see. Let me see if I can work this thing again. Where's it going to come open? That's the only thing that's weird to me about that. Here we go. Screen 3, I think it's screen 3. So here's your ticket that you just popped in and did it. And in the history, it should show everything that happens here. So like it came in, and then it ticked, an assignment role was given, and that should have sent out that acknowledgement and that email notification that asked you for probably the just the machine. What did you get in response? I wrote it, but it's been a while. You should have gotten an email, something like,
ticket's been created with the ID of 11:13.
Yeah.
Test how fast. Easiest way to snap pix labels. All they need to do is reply to our emails. Everything else is automatic.
Okay. See, I try to set it up. And then see, we could go from there. If I needed to, we could do a remote assist just immediately, or I could schedule one, you know, and then go right into that. So it's all built in. We can set up calendar events. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in here. We can go and look at your HubSpot stuff, which is our basic CRM system. So we can make sure that you're really who you are. And it's already got all your info in there. Did you populate that, or was that already in? I think that was already in there.
You that pop it on it was that was auto. All I did was send you an email.
Yeah. So, but
Now
yeah.
everybody has Jim's personal cell phone number.
Oh crap! I forgot about that. Oops.
I don't care. It's
And
business.
Quick,
I can go
find
back
up
and
as many
redact.
porn sites as you can, so they call them all the time.
Yeah,
can-
really.
I can go in and redact that. I forgot about that.
Hey, Brian, I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've run across this or if it's possible or not. Is there a way to put a jogging controller on the Thunders?
A jogging controller?
Yeah, so like a lot of people use like PlayStation controllers, or they actually make dedicated controllers or whatever. Because like with my 63, when I'm cutting stuff that's sticking out of the front of it, and I'm trying to do print and cut, it's a royal pain in the butt having to walk all the way around and go, oh, I need 2 clicks up and 1 click left, and go all the way back over. Go, crap, I went too far. And it'd be really nice to control it from a controller.
Yeah. Ruida has a professional, let's see, wireless. If you're connected via Ethernet,
I am.
Ruida has that solution that's that. Let me pull it up. That's the handheld thing, you know, the remote, but I think they're kind of expensive. But if you're connected via Ethernet, I know there's an Android app, and I've got it on our site, and I think there's an Apple app now iOS app for the Ruida where you can jog it and pulse it and focus it and all that stuff from the phone, as long as you're connected via Ethernet. And I'll put the link. It's at the very, very bottom. Hold on, let me pop this screen back up so you can see it. I'll see if we can follow along here. I think that's the right page. If you see something crazy, just ignore it. Yeah, that's the right one. So at the bottom of this article, which I'll link in the chats, it's about some of the wireless stuff, is the Android app. And I believe if we go look for, let me.
So, but for an
pop that
actual controller, is that the controller that I need to use?
The one that you just linked?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes, that's their solution.
Okay.
Now, the phone app will do this pretty much the same thing. It's just
Okay.
software buttons, you know, it's because I don't know how much this thing costs, but I'm sure they're not super cheap. But
And
that
so
is
for-
the.
So to do
That-
the one that you linked, what's the part that I need to buy for it?
Nothing. You don't need a part. If you use the app, you just need to be connected via Ethernet. And then have your phone on the Wi-Fi connection.
That's it?
That's it. It looks like this
And-
one may actually access the serial port on the controller itself, that adapter. See?
Yeah, it does. That plugs
Okay.
straight into the controller, and then it's got a little Wi-Fi antenna that sits up on top of your laser.
Okay. This may be more, and it looks like it's got programmable function keys maybe. That may be more feature enhanced than the app. I've used the app and it's fine. Let me see if I can find the one. You have an Apple, don't you? You have Apple stuff?
No.
Or do you have Android?
Oh God, no! I've got PCs.
No, he's in.
Yeah,
he's-
talking about your mobile devices.
We're Apple, so you can go ahead and look for it and help us out.
Yeah. I saw it somewhere.
yeah, you can tell
There
they're
it
Apple.
is.
people. They're wearing the same color shirts again.
So here's
I swear their clothes must hang in the closet next to each other, and they just pull them out every day.
yeah. Yeah, here it is for Apple.
And so,
I'll
and this
put
will,
that.
and so with this app, I can connect straight up to my laser. I don't need anything else.
Correct. If it's on the network, if you're communicating with it via network, then yes, that's all you need. Now you'll have to slip that that Android file. What is that? ACS? I forget what it is. I forget what the extension is on that. You'll have to turn on the developer allow. You know what I mean? There might be a security thing if you've got
Oh,
an
gotcha.
Android phone to
Yeah, you
allow
got
an
developer.
unidentified application or something like that. And you'll have to actually pull the file in that way. But yeah,
So, how do you use this app? It's all in Chinese.
which app do you have it on your phone already?
Yeah. Oh, wait, there's an option for English. You just have to kind of muddle through it until you can find something that says English.
Yeah.
Got it.
So cool. And that may do what you want it to do.
It might. Yeah, I'm just tired of running around my IP address. I'm assuming it wants the IP address of my laser.
It's good
does.
exercise.
Yeah, are you going to try it right now? See if it works?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know if you have multiple machines. I haven't tried that. I haven't gotten that deep into it.
I do. I'll try them with the other machines as well here later, but right now I'm cutting out flipping real estate signs and they stick way out my laser.
Gotcha. All right, Tommy, are you guys connected Ethernet also? You going to give it a try on your Macs, on your Apple devices?
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it on my phone. I got it to English.
Do you?
Yeah, it's technically in English, but there's still a whole lot of Chinese characters on the screen.
Yes, there
Um,
is.
That's why he's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's in English now because it says device list
Yeah,
and
but
whatever."
all your important stuff is in English. So
I didn't even get to that screen.
You have to add your laser to get to that one.
Yeah, well, we're in the house now, so I'll do that tomorrow.
Gotcha. If you have any trouble with it, I don't have an Apple device to load that app on. I've got a Mac computer now that I have Mac and Linux running Lightburn now. So I haven't had one single person with a Linux box running Lightburn though.
Hey, that's pretty cool. It actually does work.
So is your Thunder connected to the internet other than through your computer, Travis?
I would have to look at my network. I don't know off the top of my head because I run a bunch of separate networks in our shop. But I think this network is actually tied back to the internet as well.
Yeah. You don't need the internet. You just need your phone and the laser to be on the same network connection. You know what I mean? Like your router.
So in my case, yeah. So my this one would have to be on the internet because my phone's on my Wi-Fi, which is our WAN signal. And so yeah, as long as it's on the same network, like Brian said, you're fine.
Just don't crash your head.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, he's standing so far away from it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not used. It's not made to be used like from the other room, like. But
well, he's like 30 feet away from it right now.
Oh man, can I mess with some people though? Send one of the guys in here. Hey, can you go cut this out for me really quick? And then just start jogging it all around. What's going on? All right.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
I know that this is a little off topic semi, but I did have a little opportunity on Sunday when I updated to the new program of Lightburn, where the little laser light that goes across the bed that blocks it for the auto focus.
Okay.
There was nothing in the way, and the autofocus laser on the right had a red light, and the bed would go down, but it would not go up. I'm pushing the buttons on the control panel, and it wouldn't go up. I turned the laser bed off, all three buttons, the two on the side and the panic button up top. Left it off for 30 seconds, thinking it would do whatever reset. It didn't. Turned it back on. Still couldn't get it to go up and down. Couldn't get it to go up. Could get it to go down the whole time, but not up. So then I ended up turning off Lightburn, turning off the laser bed, turned it back on, and it fixed it. I don't know if it was just a glitch with Lightburn for 2 seconds or what.
Well, theoretically, Lightburn has zero to do with any of that stuff as far as the autofocus sensor. That's wired right into the controller. If that red light is on, that means that sensor is being tripped or it's failing, one or the other. So I think that might have been a coincidence. Anytime that light on the right-hand side of the autofocus sensor is on, that means that the beam is effectively being blocked, or the sensor is not seeing the other one. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I understand what you're saying, but then other than I don't know how to check or whatever the laser beam, and I mean, I've never moved it. I've never done anything. Nothing's ever smacked it. And that's the thing, is I was using it like it was going up and down 10 seconds before it just stopped all on its own. And I don't know why it would do that other than, like I said, maybe a minor hiccup or something.
So I've seen those autofocus sensor arrays get dust on them to the point where they can't see good. I've seen the head, the nozzle be down so far, that it passes across it and blocks it. I've seen that. But it's going to be something physical or electromechanical. I don't think it's going to be a software thing, because other than the only thing Lightburn has to do as far as autofocus goes is it will tell the controller to go do the autofocus function. But again, those sensors are a totally separate thing from that. I've got an article on it. Let's see.
And then I guess as a side note, is there any workaround if the one of those switches is failed? I mean, how do I mechanically adjust the laser bed if it's overriding and it's not letting me? How can I trick the system? Like with a magnet, you can leave your door open and the thing thinks it's closed, but how do I get that laser beam to
Right.
not act up and let me do what I want to do, even though it doesn't want me to do what I want to do?
Right. So if that is the case and there actually is a failure, you would go to this on connector 3, limit Z negative, and disconnect that wire. And that's something that we would tell you in a tech support thing, because typically that kind of stuff's handled in a ticket. But that way we can, make sure that we warn you of what can happen, because once you do that, you can crash your head because there's nothing to stop it. But on the Z-axis end stops, one thing that we've seen is these, especially on the Nova 51, they're mounted really close to this radius over here on this. And I don't know if you can see the mouse pointer in that preview or not. Can you?
Yeah.
Okay. That hole for that mounting location is really close to that radius, and these get tightened up too tight sometimes. You see how it's sitting up? It's like tweaked. It's pointing down. That's enough to cause a problem, even on this side. So a lot of times, the first thing we'll recommend if there is a sensor failure is to loosen up these screws just a little bit that mount them on the left hand and right hand sides, and let them relax a little bit so that they're not pointing too far down in some instances. That, and then clean the faces of the optics themselves, because they can get dust on them and not be able to see good, basically, since they are optical sensors. I can't prove it, but I also think that sometimes some alternate light source could possibly interfere with it, because it is an optical sensor. It's infrared though, so it would have to be something in that bandwidth, to affect it, I think. But I would check those first. Does it do it all? I mean, has it done it anymore? Is that like, can you not move the bed up now for any reason?
No, that's the thing. When I turned the laser bed off the first time, it didn't fix it. Turned it, I turned it off, turned it back on. I waited a minute, whatever. It still wouldn't go up. It would still go down. And then I turned off the laser, all 3 switches again, and then I restarted Lightburn, and it worked right away. I got a green light on both the sensors and no red lights at all. And it hasn't hiccuped since. And that's why it was a total just one-off. Yeah. It never happened before, and it hasn't happened since.
Okay, I think it was unrelated to any of that you did. I think that it was an actual optical occurrence where it just didn't see the other sensor for a minute for whatever reason, and I'm not really sure why. I would recommend maybe releasing these screws just a little bit, not enough to where the sensor is loose, but just because they really cranked those down. You can see how it's tweaked that one and caused it to, the back end of it to raise up. I would release those 2 Allen screws on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side just a little bit. We have seen one fail because it was squeezed. I'm guessing it's squeezed so tight here that it flexed the board or the circuit inside. Maybe there's a cold solder joint. And we have had these permanently fixed just by releasing these screws just a little bit, to lessen the pressure just a skosh. I would do that. If it doesn't show up again, you should be okay. If it does, definitely put in a ticket, and we'll send you out some replacement sensors.
Cool. All right. I will. If it happens again, I'll let you know. But
and I'll paste that article that we were just looking at in the chat, just in case anybody wants it for reference. So cool. Let me pop that off. Hey, Chris, how's it going, man? CeeLo?
How are you?
So, I am well. Well, we're already over my little support topic. I already did my little rant there. It wasn't really a rant. And then we got to talking about autofocus sensors. Does anybody else have anything? Let's just open it back up and see if anybody's got any questions. Or
I will say this app does the trick, and thank you. This is a huge lifesaver.
Awesome. No, that's a phone, Travis. That's a phone.
But you know what
No.
Good Lord.
Now, the thing is, he needs to remember where his phone's at to be able to do that. So every single time he walks over there, his phone will be in the other room
hmm
or at his desk, and then he'll still have to walk all the way around.
Well, that and Jim, if you wanted to, take it a little step further, I think you should probably do a little scoping and find out who his coworkers are, and maybe send them the link to the app, and they can
No.
after he then they can mess with him a little bit, kind of like having a second remote. When somebody goes to work the TV and you're behind them going bloop and changing it.
Yeah,
So,
really.
But yeah, if anybody's got anything, feel free. Chris, if nobody's got anything, is it something that you want to bounce around a minute on whatever you were seeing on that
I'm
last
curious
thing?
why
Or
Chris's doors are closed. Is it that cold down there, or is he actually finally got air conditioning in that place?
I do. I have. Oh, it's not even on. I do
'Cause
have
I
a
noticed
little.
your door. I noticed your door was closed, and I was like, "Wow, that's an oddity."
It was raining
Yeah.
earlier, so it's yeah. So yeah, the change the IP off of the standard IP that we had. We moved it one number off, plus the end number or the unit number.
Mhm.
Also changed the subnet mask to 3 different ones. We did the 255.255.0.0. We did the 3 255s. Nothing. Turned off our Wi-Fi. Tried it again. So yeah, there's something weird going on there.
We can both jump in on that together if you want.
Yeah. There's something weird I'm missing.
Okay, cool. So, all right. Well, we got about 23 minutes left. Hey, this actually went along pretty well. I was thinking we were about 15 minutes in now.
Between
So-
the oddities of things brought up between the handheld remote and
We doing the Rudia app?
Yeah, Travis just tried it out for the Android, and there's also an Apple version of it that we're going to see about. I'm pretty sure they work. I used the Android one a time or two, but Travis
So
had an actual need for it, so that came in handy.
okay, there's the link.
So cool. Well, if anybody's got any questions or comments, feel free to pop them out. We'll just use.
I got a comment on the app.
Yeah.
The app is quite old, version 1, and according to Apple's website, the app will be obsolete come September time because it's not current.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a Ruida thing. I have no control over that, and since they don't technically sell their software, it's just kind of packaged with the unit, with the controller. I'm not so sure if they're gonna re-up on that. I think they will. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, Ruida has actually started putting out a lot more videos, showing some of their enhancements in RDWorks and stuff like that. I haven't paid much attention because I'm a Lightburn guy, but it looks almost like that they're trying to be proactive in their development instead of reactive a little bit now. So they may be aware of that, and they may reissue it or do whatever they need to do, on that. Now, the Android one, I first posted that link to that exact file probably almost 6 years ago on my Laser God site, and it's the same one, so it's been fine. Again, Apple's a little more stringent, I think, on their apps. They need to, follow more stringent guidelines, I think. But I'm not exactly sure what would be involved in that. I didn't even notice that when I looked at it either.
Okay, Brian, I got another question for you.
All right.
So I'm looking at that wireless controller. They're only $126 for the whole kit. So I'm gonna pick one up, but there's 2 options. One of them is for a 644X and one is for a 633X.
We have the 644, I believe.
Even on my old one?
I don't know. You might want to pop the top and look.
That's what I didn't want to have to do.
Yeah. I think the 6442 is the one that we haven't changed it in since I can remember.
Okay. Is that a setting I can view through Lightburn at all?
I don't know. You can see the firmware revision in Lightburn, but I don't know if it'll show you the actual model number of the DSP itself. But it's not the 3.3 one. We've never ever had one of those. If that helps.
Okay.
We've always had the 6442 or 6445 or whichever one that was.
Okay, and this is 64 for whatever. So it's
Yeah.
good for all the 6440 series.
Yeah,
But for 126 bucks, that's not a bad deal though. For a
if
dedicated
you need it
wireless
now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now everybody's going to be wanting one.
Yeah.
It'll be the next.
Now
thing
the
to
other
add to
thing
later.
is if that's just talking through that RS, through that serial port that's on the controller, that DB9 connector, that also means that you could find out what that protocol is and wire into that thing and probably make your own.
For $126, it's not worth my time to figure out how to make my own.
True. And it's wireless, so that's cool. People do I have seen people get those before. So. Oh, did you find one on? Yeah, the CloudRay might have them. Local. I don't know how much you pay for them on Amazon CloudRay though. Yeah, I see the difference there, but it's the 6440. It's the 644X1 is the one you'll need. I'm just about positive. They have some other ones for other models too that I don't recognize. That's pretty weird. So, but if you get one, let me know how that thing works. I'm sure it works. So. All right. Well, Chris CeeLo, do you have anything you want to say?
I believe the pay for trainings is up and running now, right? We have it all fixed and good to go.
Yeah, I think so. Have you had many takers on that yet?
Yeah, we have. We did one yesterday. Super happy. She learned a whole bunch of stuff. And I think we have 3 next week. So
cool.
Chris, we'll be setting ours up as soon as she gets the 80 watt from the other Chris. Whenever he tells me it's ready to be picked up, then we'll schedule the
photos, right?
What's that?
What? Photos?
Yeah. Oh, we talked to the game store that we work with, and they got really excited.
This
Super
guy
excited.
pulled it off the internet and just lasered it, and it looks cool. Yeah, it should be really easy. Actually, there was a guy coming to me with those cards, and he was pulling off just the character or the card. He was getting them made the size of the bed. So at the time I had the 51. He was making them 51 inches tall. So I don't know what for, like a comic shop or something like that.
Posters for the wall, or businesses, or the game stores and stuff to put up. Like I said, we talked to a few people plus the owners yesterday, and they were pretty stoked that we were going to be learning how to do that, which is just going to add that much more to what they do and their clients.
What is it you're looking at doing?
I'll pull it up. I've got
CeeLo last week pulled an image, and he pulled an image off the internet and had it lasered in like 35 seconds last week, and it was spot on.
Oh, yeah. We're introducing some paid training, some specialized trainings.
Yeah, no, I know about that. I was just trying to figure out what he was doing
what
with
he was doing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's
Well, something to do with
he's
something
probably
to-
still got it over there.
Somewhere, who knows where.
For us specifically, Travis, it's Magic the Gathering and Pokemon cards,
Like doing the actual cards.
or the images off of them,
So
parts of the image, things of that nature.
So
No,
all the
I know
ones,
Wizards
so I
of the
bought some of
is.
those for my kids, like the metal ones. And the coolest ones that I have seen so far, you'd have to spend about $3,000 to do it. But they're done off of a small little UV flatbed printer, and they just are absolutely phenomenal. So what they're doing is they're going through and printing the image on there, loading it on their laser, and then burning off the areas of the ink to show the natural card come through. And they were just absolutely amazing. If I remember, I'll bring them in next time so I can show you.
And you don't
did
have a
yours. Yeah, he's got a fiber.
I have a fiber.
Really?
Tommy.
Tommy
Oh,
did.
Tommy. Not yet.
Nope.
Thanks, Brian. No, not yet. And actually, I wish Grant was on here because a buddy of mine was supposed to have been contacting Grant about the y'all's version of it because he was fiddling around with somebody in Texas that, was going to provide tech support and all this other crap. And I'm like, look, dude, if you're going to spend 10 grand on one, just call Thunder. You'll get phenomenal tech support along with it. And then as soon as he gets it, we'll have access to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's just removing bulk off of belt buckles, so then he can go in and do his engraving. So he's wanting it for a lot of relief.
Right.
And once he has it, we're going to have to teach him Lightburn. So, Lois will be running it more times than he will probably.
Yeah. So.
But y'all gave me a deal on the, that 80 watt. I can't pass up. So the money's got to go to that, and then I'll have to save back up before I can get a fiber.
Sure.
Well, that's why you sell the other one, and then you use that money to get the fiber.
No, that's got to pay for the half of the 80.
So has there been any talk about upgrading the tube yet on the Thunder's fiber and go to a JPT?
Not at this point.
It's the only thing that's holding me back from getting one.
Not saying they won't, but they don't do anything off the cuff. They think about it a lot, and there's usually a pretty good, and since this is our, again, this is our first foray into the fiber galvo world, I'm sure there'll be feedback and improvements and things like that. And I'm, it's probably what I know from what I know of Thunder, it's not just the cost. There must be some other reason. Because they'll put RISI tubes in here or SPT. It really doesn't, because one thing that I've heard is, oh, you put SPT tubes in those lasers, and why don't you put RISIs? You trying to cheap out on it. And really, we don't cheap out for anything. They'll get the highest quality Chinese stuff they can, or even, even on that Odin, they're putting a coherent US made RF tube in that. So it's not that they don't try to go with the they don't try to lowball anything. There's usually more to it than that goes on.
Well, they are sticking RISIs in some of them.
Yeah. Now, some of our machines do have JPT sources in them. The one that Chris has is a JPT, I think. The one that Chris Myers has.
Oh, I was going to say,
MOPA.
not me.
Is yours a Racus?
Yeah.
Mine's a Racus. Okay. But Chris, I think the Aurora Pro, that MOPA, I think it's a JPT source. So it's not that we don't use it. It's just not in those. It's not in half of them.
And
Maybe
from
it is in the other half.
everything that I've read, those two are the closest. It's not until you get into the German stuff where you're really like off the charts.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the same way with the tubes. One reason that Thunder goes with the SPT tubes in the Nova, they test these things all the time, and they've tried different tubes. They put the RISI in the 80 watt because it performs better, but the SPT performs better in all the other ones. Otherwise, they would put Reese. They have no reason not to. They'll buy Reese all day. You know, 10 years ago, I think all of them had Reese's tubes in them. You know, and people assume that it's just because they want to go with the cheapest one. But now, if you look at a Reese and an SPT and look at dollar for hour, it's a wash. The SPT doesn't last as long. You know, it may last half as long, but it's half the cost. At the end of the day, you're paying the same amount of per time, you know, per usage anyway, if you break it down. But they say they like the beam signature better out of the SPT, actually. So it's kind of weird. Well, that's all I've got. We've got 10 more minutes if anybody wants to jump up on the soapbox for a minute. And poor Travis, we should make him turn on his mic. He's talking about us. He must have us muted too. Otherwise, I'd probably have him giggling. I think I could make him giggle if he was listening.
I think we all should just start standing up, strip off, and start standing here dancing.
Yeah, well, we need to turn off the record button before we do that.
You keep the record on for that.
No, I know that he's not paying attention now because that would have made him laugh.
Travis, you're on mute, Travis.
He knows.
He knows.
That's on the porpoise. So I'm trying to think if there's anything new, anything else.
There is a new update coming out for Lightburn very soon to fix some of the issues.
Yep.
And not that there was many. I mean, I'm really surprised. There was very, very few.
Yeah.
Considering
it's mostly that CO2 thing, isn't it? There's that one where it was doing some weird stuff on the start and end, like it was.
And the fill.
Leaving out parts and stuff. The fill thing.
The line. It wouldn't complete a line.
Wouldn't complete. Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. For them to be able to put Galvo in there in one platform and have all of that work together, I'm surprised there aren't way more problems than there are.
You have to think about it, though. I mean, I've been running the beta, and I think you've been running the beta since probably November. So, yeah. I mean,
if you call me running it, I have the beta. Yeah. I try to run it. But
you do good.
So I just don't have the hours. I don't have the hours on the lasers, you know, that you do, because you have so much more insight into that stuff. But that's why we got you, man. That's what it's all about. So, all right. Well, I've pretty much burned up anything that I had.
There's nobody new here today, right? Steve Thomas.
No. Well, John's been with us before, but I think it's been a while. Everybody else is pretty much regular. Mike's been on here. But yeah, I wouldn't call anybody here new. But yeah, if anybody has anything, feel free to kick your mic on and, I don't know, tell us a joke or whatever. Yeah, I don't have anything else. I was looking through the recent articles to see if there was anything going on there that was noteworthy, but there isn't. So it's been pretty calm these past couple of weeks.
I think Travis is trying to tell us he's for sale because there's a for sale sign with an arrow pointing towards him.
Yeah.
He's for sale. Well, you know. No, that's why I'm working on cutting out right now.
I guess what happens in Alaska stays in Alaska, or how the thing's supposed to go.
I'll take some of your temperatures right now.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's actually gotten cold up here now. It's only like 60 something. What is it? 64 out.
I mean, you had your two 3 weeks of what, 70 maybe, and that's it. You're done.
Oh no, so this year we've had the driest year on record. It's finally raining today, so we're actually kind of thankful for that. But yeah, we've been up in the low 80s just about every single day since mid to tail end of May.
And in 2 more weeks, they get their first snow.
Dude, don't even joke about that. Someone posted a picture up north of us in Adigan Pass. They got their first snowfall. I'm like, oh man.
When do you guys averagely get your first snow?
November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we usually get ours in October.
sometimes we'll have a little bit of snow for Halloween, but it's really hit or miss if we'll have snow for Halloween.
Not much different than here then.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna hit the button.
Yeah, I was gonna say,